Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be going over the Chicago Bears and their quarterback situation. Before we get started, please drop a quick like and a sub on today's video. That would really help my channel grow. Also, comment your thoughts on today's video down below in the description. That would also help my channel out too. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And with that said, I hope you enjoy the video and let's dive right into it. We're going to be looking at this article here, ranking the quarterback options for the Chicago Bears, and we're just going to be taking a deep dive into the quarterback options this offseason for Chicago. And I was kind of reading this article, thought that, I'd share my opinions on what the Bears should do at the quarterback position. Obviously, that's a huge need for them. Trubisky, Foles, they're not going to cut it, and it doesn't look like they'll re-sign Trubisky either way. So let's just dive in. First guy right here, Deshaun Watson. So obviously, Deshaun Watson rumors are heating up, and we've been hearing this for the past, month and a half, 2 months, where Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston. He doesn't want to play in Houston. He doesn't want to be there. And this is a perfect opportunity for the Chicago Bears to go out and be like, hey, we're going to give up 2-3 future first-round picks, go out and get Deshaun Watson. The rumors have it that actually the Chicago Bears are offering more than any other team for Watson. Remember, Watson is coming off an absolutely fantastic campaign where, he led the league in passing yards, and he's one of those dynamic young quarterbacks that could really change and turn around a franchise. Also, you got to remember, Chicago's a team that made the playoffs last year with subpar quarterback play. So imagine if they got some elite level quarterback play from a guy like Deshaun Watson or maybe some other guys that we'll go through in today's list. They could be a real Super Bowl contender. So this is a huge need for them this offseason. Let's start with Watson, as I was saying. Watson wants out of Houston, but Houston doesn't want to get rid of him, and they shouldn't get rid of him. It doesn't make sense to get rid of, a top 5 quarterback in today's NFL when that's where a rebuild has to start. A rebuild has to start at the quarterback position. And for Houston, right, they have the quarterback to do it. They need the pieces around him, but they keep on trading everyone away. Deshaun Watson doesn't want to be part of a losing team. The Bears with Deshaun Watson would be scary, but here's the problem, right? Deshaun Watson is an MVP caliber kind of player. That's how he's been playing the past 2 or 3 years, maybe a sub below a guy like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers last year. But nonetheless, Deshaun Watson has been fantastic. He has. And that means that also him being young too and being on a big long-term contract means you're going to have to give up a lot of first-round picks, a lot of draft capital for Deshaun Watson. I don't think the Bears have that right now. A team that would be much better suited for trading for a guy like Deshaun Watson would be a team like the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, teams with draft capital right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Those are teams that have the draft capital right now to get a deal done. The Bears are not one of those teams, and for that reason, I think Deshaun Watson isn't really a true option. It'd be fantastic for the Bears, but I don't really think it could really happen. Now, though, let's keep scrolling down here. We're going to take a look at Russell Wilson. This is another situation where Russell Wilson really wants to go to the Bears. It's one of the 4 teams that he's outlined that he really wants to go to. But once again, I think it's a question of draft capital, and the Seahawks, why would they trade away Russell Wilson, who's another top 5 quarterback in today's NFL? Although Wilson has expressed interest that he wants to go to the Bears, a trade that would happen would have to involve many first-round picks. It'd have to involve a lot of money on the table via players, and I don't think that, there's even the resources in Chicago on that offense side of the football for Russell Wilson to want to go there. The offensive line isn't very good. Allen Robinson is probably leaving in free agency. They don't really have tons of weapons, and overall there isn't enough there. Yeah, sure, the defense is great, but Russell Wilson has got a great offense in Seattle. Yes, the offensive line in front of him is a little bit questionable, but nonetheless, Russell Wilson, sure, he might want to go to Chicago. He might want out of Seattle. We don't actually really know. The reports say that, he would be interested in a trade to Chicago, but nonetheless, it's a question of draft capital. It's a question of what are you willing to give up, and I just think that 3 first-round picks, where that conversation, that's where it would start for a guy like Russell Wilson. I don't really know if the Seahawks would even take a deal like that, just because of Chicago. They're going to be a team that's going to be picking probably after 15 for the next 3 years, just because of the defense. The defense is really good. They're going to be 8-8 or better for the next few seasons, I think, in my personal opinion, even with subpar quarterback play. So once again, Russell Wilson, I just don't think that they'd be able to get a deal for him. So now let's take a look at some other guys that are a little bit more possible. Derek Carr is one of those guys. I don't really think Derek Carr is a real option. I think he'll stay with the Raiders. The Raiders aren't really going to want to trade him. He's had a fantastic, he had a fantastic season last year. I think it was his best season under Gruden. So I don't think Carr leaving the Raiders is a really big thing. It's been talked about a little bit, but I just don't think that's really an option. The next guy is Carson Wentz. Obviously, he's with the Colts. This is something that, was obviously an article that was posted a little bit before that. But nonetheless, now let's look into the draft. And you know what? Number one opportunity, go out and get Zach Wilson. The thing for Zach Wilson is, he had one really, really good season where we saw a lot from him. But that season was against worse competition than the season where he struggled with, and it was only one season. Sure, he had a great season, and sure, he looks like a worse version of Patrick Mahomes, but nonetheless, I don't think it's worth, going out and trading a future first-round pick for an unproven talent who, there's still question marks about. He's not a surefire bet. He's got a great arm, got an elite arm, but once again, I think at pick 21, I think that's where the Bears are. There are some guys that you could get at that first round pick that could be, really helpful. I think actually the Bears have picked 20, excuse me. But nonetheless, I think trading him for Zach Wilson isn't really an option. However, maybe going out and getting a guy like Mack Jones, who I don't think you need to trade up for. I mean, he might go to the Patriots in that mid first round, but I think he could end up falling all the way down to the Bears. Maybe going out and getting a quarterback in the draft is a good idea. There's Mack Jones. He, in my opinion, is a more mobile Tom Brady with a smaller arm, but has great arm talent. Throws the ball really well across the middle of the field. Got really good accuracy, got good size, good arm strength. He's got all the attributes. He doesn't quite have that mobility, but I think he could be a really interesting target for this Bears team in the NFL draft. Also, there's Trey Lance. He's really, really raw coming out of NDSU. That's the same college where Carson Wentz went to. He's raw, but he's great mobility, great arm strength. He's an athlete, if that's what we'd have to describe him in one word. But nonetheless, I mean, this is a guy that could be a franchise changer for the Chicago Bears. And I think, at pick 20, at their first round pick, if one of these guys is on the board, if Justin Fields or Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence won't be there, Zach Wilson probably won't be there, Mack Jones is there, I think the Chicago Bears should definitely take an opportunity, take a look at one of those guys, because I think that could be really important and really smart for them, because, if you can get a good quarterback in the draft, then I think that could be really, that's a way to set up success for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, because you've got a rookie quarterback on a smaller deal for the next 4 years, and then you can really build some pieces offensively around them. But once again, you got to really love the quarterback in that first round. If you don't love them, then I don't think you go after them. Then you probably, put 3 or 4 first round picks on the table for Wilson or for Deshaun Watson, which I don't think either of them are going to happen. But nonetheless, I think there are some other options not through the draft that could also work. So let's keep scrolling here. Wait until day 2. I don't think Kyle Trask is a real option to be a good quarterback, but a guy I do like a lot is Sam Darnold. And this is where we're going to pretty much end the video with Sam Darnold. Darnold, hasn't had a great time in New York. He's had a really rough start to his career, and that's because there's been nothing around him, right? Nothing has helped him in New York. There hasn't been a lot of support around him, offensively, even defensively. He's just been he's been terrible in New York. But nonetheless, if the Jets are willing to give up Darnold for a 3rd round pick, this is a no-brainer for the Bears. Even a 3rd and a 5th for Darnold for one season, see what's on the table. I mean, coming out of college, Darnold had great arm talent out of USC. He's still got those attributes, and we can still see those attributes from Sam Darnold. I like what I see from him at times. There are other times where he just doesn't show that deeper arm strength, but nonetheless, he's a good game manager. And if you put him in the Bears quarterback room next year for a 3rd and a 5th round pick, if you can get him for a 3rd and 5th round pick, if it's a 2nd round pick, I don't know if I bite on it, but for a 3rd and a 5th maybe, I would definitely bring him into the building if I'm the Bears. I think that'd be a smart move because you get a young quarterback on a rookie deal, you see what you have there, and if he plays well, hey, you sign him to another contract. If he doesn't play well, it doesn't matter. It was a 3rd and a 5th pick. It's not like you were going to get anything out of that anyway, and you really get to see a guy that he was a top 10 pick at one point back a few seasons when he was drafted by the Jets. So he still got the talent. He still has that potential. It's just he wasn't in the right situation. You put him in Chicago. You maybe get another receiver in the building to give him a little bit more weapons, give him a few more options, and then you can really evaluate him and see if he's the guy for the long term. However, I don't think the best option for me is definitely go out and get a guy in the NFL draft. I think that's the smartest option nonetheless, because you don't have to give up draft capital for it. You're just using your 1st round pick and you're just going out and getting the best quarterback that you truly believe in. The other options for me are Darnold, Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson will end up being traded, and although the Bears are probably going to offer more than any other team, I just don't think that they're going to be able to get a deal done with the picks that they have, especially in this year's draft. They're in the latter parts of those rounds. And then a guy like Darnold, I think that one really intrigues me a lot because you're not going to have to give up too much for him. You'd only get him for like one season, and if you didn't like him, then you wouldn't have to re-sign him. And I just think it'd be a smart move because you can evaluate what the Jets, what the Jets have in Sam Darnold. You bring him into the building, see what they have. It's not like the Jets are gonna, not draft a quarterback. I think that I really truly believe the Jets are going to draft a quarterback at pick number 2, and in my opinion, it's probably going to be Zach Wilson, although I do think Justin Fields is better. But nonetheless, I just think that Darnold is a good, smart move if you're not confident in any of the quarterbacks that you could probably take at pick 20. So if I'm the Chicago Bears, yeah, sure, I definitely offer 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. But when that inevitably gets shut down, it's really, for me, it's either Darnold for a 3rd and a 5th. I think that's a fair deal for both teams. Both teams get something out of that. Or you're really looking to the draft if you're the Chicago Bears. And with that said, that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new around here, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I'd really appreciate that. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, see ya.